Hi friends, whenever we think about says Vishwamitra, few things come to our minds. What are those things? He was Guru of Ram and Lakshman. He taught them many astras and shastras, and he also performed their marriages. And only these aspects we know about says Vishwamitra. But actually, who was Vishwamitra? He was a great emperor. And just like as a human being, or ordinary human being, he also had many internal enemies. What were his internal? Just like all of us, he also had anger and mostly egoistic. He was so egoistic and he was self-centered, and he also had jealousy. And after that, how did he overcome all these internal enemies? How did he defeat all his internal enemies? Let's know the important aspects which occurred in his life. Hi friends, here you can see the image of Vashistha Mahamuni, a great sage. Here you can see his peaceful face. He is free from all internal enemies, what we call them as anger, hatred, jealousy, and whatever names we give. He is free from all sorts of internal enemies. His main aim was to perform yajnas and yagas for world's peace, but not for any selfish causes. One more says you can see here is says Vishwamitra. Who is Vishwamitra? Vishwamitra was a great king once, later who turned to be a Brahmarshi. What factors changed him into Brahmarshi? Once as a king, he entered into the forest along with all his men. On the way, he entered into the ashram of Vashistha Mahamuni, and he was the disciple of Vashistha Mahamuni. He showed his respect to Vashistha Mahamuni. As it was already evening, Vashistha Mahamuni told him to stay back for dinner. Then King Vishwamitra said, "No, Swamiji, how can you provide food for all of us? We have many. I came with many of my subjects. So you cannot, it is not possible for you to feed us all at this point of time. That too, you are in ashramam. We know how simple life you lead. So how can you give us food for all?" Then Vashistha Mahamuni said, "You don't worry about it. We can arrange food for all of your men along with you." Within no time, very delicious food, very hot food, in very healthy environment was served to Vishwamitra and all his men. He was shocked. "Swami, how could you provide food for all of us within no time? It's so delicious too." For that, Vashistha Mahamuni said, "I have a cow named Nandini. It was the reproduction of Kamadhenu. Because of it, I could arrange all delicious food in time." Then greediness empowered Vishwamitra. "Guruji, please give that cow to me. You know I am the king. I have to provide food to many people and I have to fulfill the needs of many as a king. So you are just a saint. So please give that cow to me," he requested. Then Vashistha Mahamuni said, "How can I give this cow to you? We perform yajnas and yagas, and for that we need all the products which the cow gives. The dung is needed, its milk is needed, and its urine, everything is needed. Not just for our survival, but perform yajnas for world peace." For that, Vishwamitra said, "You don't worry about it. I am the king. I can give you 10,000 cows in this place. You give me that Nandini." Here, his ego mounted. But Vashistha Mahamuni disagreed to give. His greediness had taken another form called anger. By using all his power and forcibly, he tried to snatch his cow named Nandini. Nandini was looking at Vashistha Mahamuni. He understood Nandini's feeling. Nandini, you know I am just a saint. I don't have any physical stamina just like that king. So I can't do anything. He is using all his power and taking you. And it is your turn to fight against him. And it is your turn to defend yourself. Then Nandini made a huge sound. From its ears, from its nostrils, from its mouth emerged many to fight against Vishwamitra and his men. Vishwamitra and his men proved themselves powerless. They ran away. But Vishwamitra's anger intensified. Again he approached Vashistha Mahamuni along with his men. Thousands of men surrounded his ashram. Vashistha Mahamuni was just a saint. He didn't have any weapons. What he did was, he put his something like dandam in front of, something like stick in front of his ashram. Vishwamitra used all his astras and shastras, but of no use. Everything was swallowed by that dandam, stick, which was there. Then Vishwamitra realized it's all because of divine power which was possessed by Vashistha Mahamuni. He too should get that divine power. For that, what should he do? He had to penance. He went to one corner of the earth and started doing his penance. By the intensity of Vishwamitra's penance, the world started shaking. Even the avatars were very much worried that he was going to occupy his seat. So, Indra sent Menaka to spoil his penance. Determination to achieve the goal. What Indra expected had happened. He was fascinated by the beauty of Menaka and was in relationship with her for 10 years. Thus, his desires in materialistic pleasures brought him to his downfall. Then he went to another corner of the earth and started his meditation. At that point of time, someone was taking a boy for Naram. The boy fell on his feet to protect him. The boy happened to be one of his family members. Then he poured forth whatever powers he acquired to that boy. Again that led him to his downfall. Then Vishwamitra was more determined. He went to another corner and started his tapas. This time Indra sent Ramba to spoil his tapas. Vishwamitra realized that she was sent by Indra, and then he cursed her to be a stone. As he couldn't control his anger, again his divine power came down to zero. Vishwamitra was much more determined to achieve his goal. He went to the other direction and started doing his penance. Friends, here we must talk about one more internal story linked up with Vishwamitra's life. That was Trishanko Sarga. Many of might have heard about it, right? Let's note that internal story. Vashistha Mahamuni had one more disciple named Trishanko. Once he prayed Vashistha Mahamuni to send him to heaven with the body. For that Vashistha Mahamuni said, you can't go with this body. With this material body you can't go to heaven. For that you need to have some divine body, said Vashistha Mahamuni. Then Trishanko started arguing, no, I want to go with this body to heaven. Trishanko approached Vishwamitra and fell on his feet. Swami, I think you got some powers. Can you send me to heaven with this body? He asked. Our Guru, Vashistha Mahamuni, said, it's not possible. Can you send me to heaven with this body? His ego again empowered him and said, if he can't send you to heaven, I will send you to heaven by using all my powers. Saying so, again he used his power to send him to heaven. The result of this was again Vishwamitra came down to zero. He lost his powers again. On the other hand, Trishanko was thrown away from heaven because he did not follow the rules and regulations of heaven. And then his situation was such that he did not have any place to stay. He would not be accepted by the earth or the heaven. So he was just hanging in the air amidst heaven and the earth. Hey, says Vishwamitra, please save my life. I was thrown away by heaven. I was not allowed to be in heaven. Okay, you don't worry. By using all my powers, I will create another world for you only, and you can enjoy your life there in that world. And that world, that heaven, is called Trishanka Sarga. In this way, each time Vishwamitra was acquiring powers, and at the same time he was losing them too. But each time he was realizing his mistake and was trying his best to overcome that mistake and sat in penance. Somehow he was successful. Yes, he hadn't been eaten for many days. He was about to eat some food. At that point of time, Indra, in the disguise of a beggar, came to him to ask for food. This time also Vishwamitra realized that Indra came in disguise of a beggar. This time he tried his best to control his anger and gave him the food by suppressing his anger. So Brahma was pleased by his penance and appeared in front of him and said that he was going to be real Rajarshi. Then Vishwamitra said, no, I don't want to be Rajarshi. I want to be Brahmarshi, just like Vashistha Mahamuni. Again he started sitting in penance. Then this time Vashistha Mahamuni appeared in front of him and said, Vishwamitra, I really appreciate your great penance, your great determination. With your strong determination, you proved that you are real Brahmarshi now. You are going to be Guru and Acharya of Sri Mahavishnu, who is going to come in this Treta Yuga as Ram. Thus Vishwamitra each time realized the crime or mistake committed by him and tried to rectify his mistake. Thus Vishwamitra became Brahmarshi. Thus friends, Vishwamitra's life is very good example for us all. That what are our internal enemies? Sometimes we may find enemies outside and we may be able to abolish them, but we have some internal enemies. We should fight against those internal enemies, and if we fight against those internal enemies and suppress those internal enemies by our good deeds and good actions, and if we properly utilize our knowledge and actions in a proper way on right path, following the principles laid by our gurus or acharyas, then we can achieve our goal, not only in this world, but the world ahead. For that we should surrender ourselves to our great gurus and acharyas, and with their grace only we can achieve our goal in our lives.